Okay.
Yeah, when it's 11, ask for superior to say the prayer. Will start. Proceed.
Oh,
Thank you.
We have 1 minute. Shall we start exactly at 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a long march of our Royal College, Vettavalam. The Department of Computer Science and Application is going to make milestone through historical event, first online international conference on data science. To begin this orderly, let us first invoke the presence of Almighty, without whose guidance this program would have been just black and white. May I now request Reverend Dr. Selvaraj Arunathan, SJ, Superior Royal College, Vettavalam, to invoke God blessings through prayer.
Good morning, friends. Let's keep a minute of silence, invoking God's blessings. God of the universe, we thank you for the wonderful morning that you have brought us together for this great conference on data analysis. Inspire every one of us, professors, speakers, students, and all the participants to really be enlightened by the new trends and technologies that are available to make our students learners and experts in the new developments in science and technology. Bless all those people who are involved in making this program possible for this day, all the speakers, all the administrators, and all those people in some way or other engaged themselves in making this program possible. Shower upon them your blessings, that through this program, they may take the mantle of informing the society with the new trends that are useful for our students as well as the society. Through this, they may come to know of the worth of science and technology by which today's society is built. We also implore your blessings that all the technologies that we use may be useful to make society better, more humane, and more inclusive. We make this prayer in the holy name of God. Amen.
Amen.
May I now request Reverend Dr. V. Brito, SJ, Principal of Royal College, Vettavalam, to deliver welcome address.
Respected and Reverend Fathers, respected and revered resource persons, respected professors of various colleges of Tiruvallur University, professors of the departments of computer applications and computer science of Loyola College, Vettavalam, very good morning to you all. With a lot of happiness and gratitude, I am happy to welcome all of you for this online international conference on data science, jointly organized by the Departments of Computer Applications and Computer Science of our college. It is the Department of Computer Science, under the leadership of Professor Josel, organized the first online international webinar of our college during COVID-19 lockdown, even as early as the month of April. Then followed the Department of Computer Application with a webinar in the first week of May. Then in the college, we had one day and 1 2-day webinars conducted by the Internal Quality Assurance Council of our college and the Department of Tamil. Today, we are starting a very special event, and it is a special event because it is conducted with the blessings of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, and she herself is going to come and motivate us, and she herself is going to be a resource person of this 4-day-long webinar. And it is special because it is a 4-day conference. It is not merely 1-day conference, but it is a 4-day conference. And it is also special because it is an international one. It is not within the state alone, but it is not within the country alone, but it is also an international one. Through our Vice Chancellor, though our Vice Chancellor will join us around 12 noon, with all appreciations and gratitude for her presence and expertise in anticipation, I like to welcome her on behalf of the Jesuit management, professors, members of the non-teaching staff, and students of Loyola College, Vettavalam, to this international webinar. I am very happy to offer gratitude and welcome to Reverend Dr. Selvaraj Arunathan, the superior of our college, who has been very supportive of this initiative. And he has blessed us with a very beautiful prayer, for which we offer our sincere gratitude to Reverend Dr. Selvaraj Arunathan. But for the vibrant initiatives and movements and contacts of Reverend Dr. Albert William, the Secretary and Campus Treasurer of our college, this webinar would not have been a reality. It is he who had several meetings with the professors of computer science and computer application of our college and contacted all resource persons, including the Honorable Vice Chancellor. With gratitude, I warmly welcome Reverend Dr. Albert William, the Secretary and Campus Treasurer of our college, to this international conference. To call it an international conference, the person who is very much instrumental is Dr. Paul Manuel of Kuwait University. He is a great expert in the fields of information technology and computer science, and he is a well-wisher and a great associate of Loyola College, Vettavalam, and he has brought in a lot of organizational inputs to the body of the departments of computer science and computer application. And as a younger brother of our father secretary, he has also played a vital role in organizing this international conference and make it an international conference. With sincere gratitude and thanks, we welcome Dr. Paul Manuel amidst us for this international conference. We are very happy to have Dr. Vijay Kumar, the CRM and the program management lead of Cognizant, who is going to speak on customer relationship management today, the first topic on the very first day of this 4-day-long international conference. We all know Cognizant is a company which is not reputed within Tamil Nadu alone, within India alone, but it is internationally reputed company. And we have Dr. Vijay Kumar, who has produced a lot of experts in this field, and it is because of him many students who are currently studying or who have studied in many institutions were able to find job also. So such a great personality we are having amidst us as the first day's resource person, and we are very happy to welcome Dr. Vijay Kumar amidst all of us, on behalf of all of us, for this particular international conference. From the Jesuit management and the professors and the family of Loyola College, Vettavalam, I am very happy to welcome all participants from many colleges of Thiruvallur University. I was very happy to know about 2 days back, the number of professors who had registered themselves for this 4-day-long international conference went up to 320. So such a kind of an enthusiasm and interest with which nearly 300 and odd professors have joined this international conference. Very warmly and very happily, I am very happy to welcome all of you, dear professors, to this wonderful 4-day-long international conference. Last but not the least, I like to very warmly appreciate and welcome all professors who belong to the departments of computer application, who are 4 in number, and all professors who belong to the Department of Computer Science, who are in 3 in number. All these 7 people have been planning this particular international conference for many weeks together under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Albert William, and they have made it a professional one, and with their professional expertise, they are able to organize this webinar in a very, very meaningful manner. With sincere appreciations, I'm very happy to welcome all professors of computer science and computer application of Loyola College, Vettavalam. And I'm very happy to welcome each and every one of you. I'm sure this 4-day-long international conference is going to be an element which is going to empower each and every one of us with more knowledge, with more skills. And this, in other words, you can call it, it is a faculty development program organized by Loyola College, Vettavalam. Once again, we wish you all the best. Welcome each and every one of you. May God bless all of us throughout this 4-day international conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. May I now request Honorable Dr. Albert William, SJ, Secretary, Loyola College, Vettavalam, to introduce the resource person.
Respected, distinguished Dr. Vijay Kumar Jagannathan, for the superior, for the principal, and all the participants in this international program. A very good morning to everyone. I'm extremely happy and immensely proud of introducing today's eminent speaker, a well-known scholar and a seasoned IT professional, Dr. Vijay Kumar Jagannathan. He has 2 decades of rich and insightful experiences involved in leadership management of multiple projects for design development and implementation of CRM, as well as web-based solution in Cognizant Technology Solution Private Limited. His professional qualities in management are delivery management, program management, effort and cost estimation, and process management. At present, Dr. Vijay Kumar has innumerous current responsibility as an IT professional, and his technical skills are amazing and excellent. Due to lack of time, now I can't give you a complete introduction of Dr. Vijay Kumar. Let me thank him so much, Dr. Vijay Kumar, for your valuable and fruitful time spent with us. Over to Dr. Vijay Kumar. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. My name is Vijay Kumar Jagannathan. So, thanks for everyone who arranged this meeting and given me this opportunity. Thank you, the audience who have joined in this call, professors and students and principal, secretary, president. Let me share my screen.
Yes.
Hope you all are seeing my screen.
No, sir.
No, not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Is it
Yes.
coming now?
Yes.
Hope you are seeing my PPT deck.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. May I know the audience whoever joined? I mean, there are professors I heard, and is there any students joined in this call?
No, sir. Mostly professors.
Professors from what kind of department? I know.
Professors from computer science and computer application, computer related departments.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. I have prepared this for.
Sorry, sir. There are some from commerce department.
Okay. So I have prepared this slide for the professors as well as students as well. I mean, I wanted to explain more to students as well. But I have some topics where professors can take it from here and then communicate to students where they can learn some of the latest technologies in the IT
Sorry,
industry.
sir, excuse me, sorry. Your voice is not audible.
Okay. How is it now?
Yes, somewhat better.
It should be okay.
Better you can switch off your video, sir. Yes. I'm getting same comments from audience also. Your voice is not clear.
Okay. How is it now?
Yes, now it's okay.
Clear, right? Thank you. Please stop in between whenever you have any questions, anything, any disturbance, anything. I'll correct myself.
Sure, sir.
So, so I'm going to talk about the customer relationship management. It's simply we call CRM. So, what is customer relationship management? See, the business, right? This is mainly for the business community. For the domain, telecom domain, or healthcare, or retail, or insurance, consumer goods, license, management, any domain, any such kind of domain, you can
Sir,
use this.
Sir, Dr. Vijay Kumar, sir,
Yes, sir. Tell me.
still we have problem in your voice, sir.
1 minute. I have. How is it now?
Yes.
It's
I
okay.
think it's okay. Yes, I think it's okay.
Sorry, I am using Wi-Fi connection from home, right? Sometimes my daughter's also connecting the online schooling.
Okay.
So that is giving the bandwidth issue. So I asked them to connect through the data. Okay. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Perfectly clear? Okay. So I'm talking about the business people, right? This is mainly for the business community to interact with the kind of customers. So the relationship, we are creating the relationship between the business people and the customers, and then try to grow their revenue and the customer base through our computer system. So there are multiple technologies from 1980s, right? For CRM, Amdocs CRM, Siebel CRM, you can say Social CRM, and Sugar CRM, Accordion CRM, now Microsoft CRM, and Salesforce CRM. So, so I started my career in my CRM only. Mainframe. After that, CRM from 2000. I started with the Amdocs CRM and Siebel CRM. Now it is I moved to Salesforce CRM. So I move on to the next screen. So it is a technology to manage relationship and interactions with customer. What are you going to achieve? To improve the business relationship with the customer and also the revenue to the business. So it will help the company to stay connected with the customers and their frequently buying behaviors and the processes and of course the profitability. So the all type of business, right? You can take any kind of business. Everything depends on the profitability, what they are going to achieve over the period of time. So the CRM is going to monitor their profitability and it is going to analyze the business functionality and identify their future mode of operations and how they are going to achieve the profitability and what are the improvements they have to do. Everything the CRM system will help. So in general, CRM, the sense, CRM, okay, you know Java and VB and the Oracle, there are a lot of softwares, right? So what is CRM? It is a predefined tool. It is predefined tool available in market. Some of the CRMs are open source available. Okay, so you can directly use that CRM into business. But at the same time, there are a lot of customizations we can make based on the business need purpose, right? So it is mainly supported 4 dimensions. One is customer identification, customer attraction, customer development, and customer retention. So customer identification, when I say customer identification, it will identify the right customer for our business. If it is medical business, you go to all hospitals and things like for example, medical business in the sense, or some of the Johnson and Johnson or Novartis, some of the medical companies, right? So they may have to target their end customer at the hospitals and big research centers. So they are their customers. And for example, the retail shoppings. So for their customers, there are multiple variety of customers. One is regular, frequent buyer, or some of the customers are used to buy only one product, and some of the customers are buying spending huge amount for each and every buy. So everything they are taking into the note. I mean, when you buy something in, for example, BigBazaar, they are asking our phone number. So based on the phone number, they will have all our information, right? How that is going to be their unique identification, right? So how frequently you are buying, what are the repeated products you are buying, or how much you are spending for a week or month or day or something. And similarly, they are taking all kind of customers' data into the database, and finally they will do the data science and get the maximum. Okay, these are the products are selling maximum, so we may have to keep that more in the shop. So kind of a lot of research and the CRM analytics through that they are doing lot of multiple portions. So customer framework and data mining techniques, right? So when I say customer identification, it is to identify the customer from the master database or otherwise the general market, and attract the customer through the multiple area like social media or the word of mouth kind of thing. They can attract the customers or giving multiple discounts or kind of. So customer retention, how to retain our existing customer. Okay, I have a set of customers. How can I retain their relationship? So I have to give as a business people, they have to give the loyalty program kind of discounts or benefits for the frequent buyers. And if there are any complaints or suggestions from the existing customer, immediately they have to address that with the high priority. That is one of the way of keep the customer. At the same time, if some of the customers are giving some complaint, immediately business is identified and rectified the particular complaints. Definitely, the customer will go on to communicate to his friends and relatives and others, right? So this kind of things happen, and this is what they are. So that is going to be increased again your business, and then other new customers will come. That is one of the way of customer development. Okay, and the data mining techniques what we use here is association and classification, clustering and forecasting and regression. What is association? Association is the relationship between customer and the business. There are at the same time we use the data model, right? The one-to-one, many-to-one, many-to-many relationship. So everything will play a role. The classification, the category, right? Category of customer. As I said earlier, the frequent buyers are the wholesale buyers or the online buyers, anyone. So there are multiple segregations, right? The buyer who buys using money, who buys using credit card or online, every data collection, everything to do with the customer relationship. And the clustering is the category wise, we are segregating the customer, that is called the clustering here. And then forecasting, of course, everyone knows that the future revenue, what we are going to get, right? What the business is going to get. That is going to be the forecasting. And the regression is the estimation between the growth in sales and the current economy. That is called regression here. And then sequence discovery, it is mining of frequently occur orders or the customers. Again, it is, as I said earlier, that it is mining, data mining again. So from the large data, right? So how frequently the customers are buying the product, what is their time duration, or what kind of product they are buying. This is what we just spoke. What is the need of CRM? Okay, these are all fine. What is the need of CRM? Because CRM is going to do all these activities. So far, the business normally it is our olden days, right? They normally do the business and then whoever comes and then goes, that's all. But now each and every customer, the CRM is going to take the database and then based on the data, they are going to do the business improvements. There are multiple ways. You must be getting the SMS through from some online shops, some WhatsApp messages, or some mail communication. There are multiple ways that are all coming from these kind of systems. I mean, they are keeping your database and then they are identifying you as one of the suitable customer for them, and they are sending you the messages. So, and the companies to keep databases, that is what we explain, and then extract knowledge from these databases in order to gain competitive advantage. Because each and every business people, there are a lot of competition in the market, right? So everyone is having going towards the CRM and ERP systems. For the manufacturing and things, we are using the ERP systems, and then CRM is sales and service model and marketing. Everything CRM is taking care. So the CRM steps include targeting, acquisition, and retention and expansion of the business. This is what in general. So CRM, it is for the sales and the marketing and service status. So whatever the sales, order processing, and the contract, quote, everything coming under CRM. At the same time, the services, after sale, after you do the successful sales, the services, right? The call center management and immediately address their queries and field service executives. Like the executives will go and see the customer. For example, one of the medical devices, for example, the scanning machine bought from one of the topmost hospital. And then the scanning machine had some issue, and immediately they raise a complaint in CRM system. And immediately it will come to the CRM customer relationship manager, and they will reassign that into field service executive. So field service executive will see their messages. Earlier it was in the pager messages, now it is mobile and a lot of mode of communication improved, right? So the field service engineer will take the message and immediately he will go and address the issue in person. So this is one of the simple process I wanted to put it here. Okay, what is targeting? Who do we target? What kind of customers is our target? What are the segments they are most? What are the segments is most profitable in a particular area? And valuable positions and acquisition. See, the acquisition, the best acquisition is nothing. I mean, the customer acquisition I'm talking about here. How do we define our target audience? And how do we send the sales messages, and to whom we have to send the sales messages? So that kind of analysis. Sorry, sir. Yes.
Sir,
Hello?
Vijay Kumar, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm audible.
Sir, this is Manimuthu. Still,
Yes, sir.
we have a problem in your network problem, your connection, sir. Your voice is not clear.
You are able to hear that. So whatever I so far discussed, right? It was audible or? Hello.
Your voice is breaking. I think you have network problem. Your voice is breaking.
Oh. Is it audible now?
Yes, now it's okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
I don't know. Video got switched on automatically. Okay. 1 minute. Let me start my video. Voice is low. Okay, let me try to increase. Hello, how is it now?
Yes, now it's okay.
Okay, sorry for the issue. So acquisition is based on the data we have, right? Master data, which they are collecting from the multiple sources. So that is what the acquisition, and then based on the data, we have to do the analysis and target audience, and in the multiple ways, social media and messages and everything, and address their issues as well as get the new businesses from them, and then through their contacts. So retention, how are we going to improve retention? What is our average customer relationship length? How long we have we can hold the customer, and what are the multiple ways to hold the customer? These are the areas talking about the retention and the expansion, the business expansion. Is it going to be additional cost involving model, or it is going to be any major capital expenditure is going to be for the expansion, or the prime target what we are going to contact, right? That is going to give more benefit. Those kind of areas is talking about the expansion, customer expansion. And at the same time, as we discussed earlier, the customer expansion is again another way to do, right? Customer development, the same. So the goal is simple: the relationship improvement, and give the service and get more sales, and do the good marketing analysis, and then improve our sales and service. Okay. CRM enables an organization to, these are the main points. I mean, provide better customer service, make call center more effective, cross-selling products more effective. So cross-selling products is, right? I mean, for example, we are using one of the network service provider for our postpaid mobile. So we are in one plan, and in future, some other plans or something else is coming, or other additional functionality and features also coming in the same service provider. So you will get a call from them, or otherwise the message or WhatsApp messages, and they will insist you to buy the new other product. This is another cross-selling. At the same time, when you are using mobile phone, you can also use the same from the same service provider. You can use the broadband, or you can use the DTH, anything, right? So that is, those are all cross-selling. Everything happening through the CRM. Okay, and help sales staff to close the deal faster. It helps why? Because the data available about, for example, if my data, if I click my phone number and email ID, they will collect all my data points in the database. How frequently I am, what are the network connections I am using, what are the, how many postpaid SIMs I am using, and what kind of products I am buying, all, anything, everything available nowadays. There is no hidden things nowadays. Everyone know that, right? So those kind of things available in the database, and it is main thing. CRM is the contact management mainly, the customer contact management, everything available in our database to improve the business. That's a, see, one more point I would like to communicate here. See, if there is a complaint, real-time example, I have a connectivity issue in my mobile. For example, my data connectivity issue. I'm calling the customer center. The customer center representative, when they come and the call comes in, immediately there is a CTA, customer telephone integration tool, available in all each and every call center. So once my call comes from my number, automatically it will invoke my complaint data into the screen, in the customer interaction screen. That is developed in CRM. So customer interaction screen will have my name, address, phone number, email ID, and what are the products I have from the particular business, and what was my last complaint and what was the resolution they given, everything will be available. So they don't have to search and do everything. When you call somebody using your phone number and unique identification from the database, automatically it will invoke your complete data into the screen. Okay. And yes, of course, the organizations must track how recently the customer purchased item, frequently customer purchased item, and what kind of monetary value of each customer purchase. Okay. So this is talking about reporting, analysis, and predicting. In general, it is a deep marketing analysis. So how are we going to analyze using the CRM system? This is where you have multiple questions and you have to prepare answer for each and every question. What is the total revenue by one single customer to the business? How many units did we manufacture for that particular product? Where did we sell the most products? Similarly, why was the production so low? What did sales not meet forecast? If it is not meeting the forecast, then what are we going to do? What is our business improvement plan? Who are our customers? So lot of questions, right? We have in some of the in the system, right? In the production system, we are managing the production system of multiple vendors, right? I mean, the life sciences are landlocked, our customer goods are rated anywhere, right? So when it goes wrong, the production system goes wrong. Wrong in the sense, if something is some issue happen, and there is a immediately they will raise a ticket to us, we have to address that immediately. If it is a critical and high priority ticket, yes, if it is a critical and high priority ticket, we have to resolve that in 2 hours maximum. So after resolution, we will have to prepare a root cause analysis document. So when we say root cause analysis document, it is going to be analyze what was the reason for the production issue. Right? So when I say production issue, for example, okay, IRCTC, we are using IRCTC Railway Online. Right? If something is goes wrong, the system is down for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. No one can connect. That is what real-time production issue. So that can support, right? Kind of companies like our company or the other companies, other IT industries, they are supporting the backend. So if anything goes wrong, the backend team has so the maximum period 2 hours if it is very high priority issue. And so how are we? Okay. So we have created a RCA document. Thank you. So the RCA document, right? It will have a 5 why analysis. Why it happened? Why we were not able to resolve? Why? So 5 why analysis we have to perform. We have to ask our questions and then we have to answer everything. And then we have to pass the 5 why analysis to the client for the reason and the corrective and preventive actions. Everything we have to do. So similarly, the business model, they have multiple questions to improve their business and then improve their customer relationship procedures. So the CRM success factor is the relationship, I mean the customer relationship, with the integrated view of the customer. Like I said, they can have each and every customer in different angle, different dimension view. It is not only retail. I mean, if some of the customer is buying some retail product, not only the retail, I mean each and everything, groceries, and you have telephone, you have other medical devices, or you have any health insurance related things. Everything they have database, and then they can have your complete information through the CRM system. So benefits, the effective and efficient operations. And it will be reduced cost CRM system. You don't have to do the vanilla implementation from the vanilla. When I say vanilla, it is from the scratch to complete implementation. On earlier olden days, Java and other technologies, normally the people will do from the beginning. Now the CRM system already it is available. Everything is predefined. You are going to configure and you have to customize based on the business need. And long-term profitability and sustainability, and of course the 24/7 support can give from this kind of systems. When I say the CRM, it is not only CRM, it is even ERP and SAP. It is all together. It is going to increase the revenue of the business. So foresee it will importance of CRM is foresee the customer need and the details of customer, grouping customer, acquiring cost effective, handy details, customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. See, if anyone is having any questions, please stop me anytime. I am happy to answer.
Sure, sure. So far, no questions received, sir. You go ahead.
Yeah. So feature of CRM again, retention rate. Retention already it is there, but retention rate has to be increased. If the retention rate is 60%, it has to be increased to 80 to 90%. Increased sales and the reduced cost, the execution cost, right? That is normally more. And in the CRM system is again they are going to give additional benefit that as a reduced cost that we are going to see in the cloud computing model in the upcoming slides. Significant role of the technology, customer information. So these are all the feature of CRM, and we will see the cloud computing and Salesforce in the upcoming slides. Analytical CRM is talking about the identification of customers and their buying behaviors. When I say buying behaviors, who buys where, what, when, and how, those are the database. So okay, there are two terms. When I say customer and consumer, so there are two different meaning of customer and consumer. So, for example, customer is buying a scanning machine, and consumer who the patients with, they are using the scanning machine. So the customer and consumer are the difference here. And the customer customer buying behavior patterns, the place of purchase, and item purchased, time and frequency of purchase, method of purchase, method in the sense online or what mode of purchase, right? Response to sales promotion devices. There are sales promotion devices through social media or the SMS or the mail and everything, right? So how they are responding based on that, the business will come to know their interest and they will contact them. Okay. Cloud computing. What is cloud computing? So far we were talking about CRM. So cloud computing is a newly arrived IT concept. So far we know that 3-tier technology, 2-tier technology. The cloud computing is a completely different ballgame. The IT software phase, it is the great demand nowadays, and it is easy to use and very cost effective, and dynamically scalable infrastructure, and upgrade and maintenance, disaster recovery, everything will be available. I mean, they are taking care of on the cloud area. And the storage increase dynamically. So, for example, your hard disk is reaching the threshold limit. You don't have to worry about that. Earlier, olden days, we have to go and increase the hardware size from GB to terabyte. And nowadays, the cloud computing, it is automatically, dynamically, it will create the space for the hardware, I mean the storage device. Okay, 1960s mainframe, everyone knows that, right? It started with the mainframe and then mini computer. Mini computer is a single node operation, right? And nowadays client server environment. where there are server located and multiple clients we can connect. And today it is cloud-based technology. Most of the business people are moving towards cloud because main reason is the cost-effective model. So how are they operating? So this is the operation model. I mean, when I say cloud, the data, application, and the storage devices, everything will be available in the cloud. Okay, so we can connect through our multiple devices like laptop, desktop, or mobile phone, or iPad, and anything, right? Okay. Any clarification in this? Okay, let me move on to the next screen. So cloud computing models. So it is talking about three different models. I mean areas: system, software as a service, and platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. Okay, when you set up a software IT division, for example, a small business, I wanted to set up an IT division. I should have a proper computer with high-end speed and everything. I should have a proper platform, whether it is Windows or Unix or whatever. And I should have a software. On top of the platform, I need to have a software which I'm going to operate. In this case, some CRM, stable CRM, or so any CRMs, right? Or otherwise Java or Visual C++ or Microsoft Dynamics, anything. So these are the softwares we are talking about. So the infrastructure as a service is the hardware portion. Everything will be set up by the multiple service providers available. Amazon Web Service is one of the service provider, and platforms, Amazon service platform or Force.com from Salesforce available. And
Sir, sorry, this is Manimuthu.
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, we have received one question from Rexy. What is the difference between privacy and confidentiality?
Sorry?
Confidentiality. What is the difference between privacy and confidentiality?
Okay. Privacy and confidentiality. Where did you see that? You can open her, mic. Can you talk?
Sir?
Can you open the mic to the audience? I mean, for particular audience.
Rexy, you can unmute your audio. Yes?
So you are talking about privacy and confidentiality, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in general term, it is not coming under this particular portion. Okay. In general term, okay. You are talking about cloud privacy and confidentiality.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, okay. So, because everything is moving towards cloud, and then what is the security? That is what your question says. So, what is the security they are giving? So, see, it is Amazon and Google App Engine, everyone is having multiple level of security, and we have to go with that. There is no other option, right? So we have to go with that, but security, confidentiality, everything taken care by the service providers. So earlier olden days, the servers which your organization, for example, the business people, they will have their own servers. They will take care of their security and confidentiality. Why? Because they have their own mechanism of firewall and other hurdles, right? But in the cloud computing, it's a good question actually. Cloud computing, there is it is not. It is available. You can go through the Google. There are a lot of security layers they have in between. But what is the assurance? If you are asking that kind of questions, what is the assurance? Then no assurance it is. It is based on their you have the customer agreement, right? Non-disclosure agreement. Those things and all they will sign when you do this kind of data sharing. So based on that, we have to go with that. No other option. Am I clear your question? Did I clear?
Yes, yes, sir. You go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And the cloud computing, again, it is,
Sorry, there's one more question.
yeah, please.
Can you explain on what are the risks involved when moving our business into cloud?
Instead of, okay, only one, I don't see any risk, okay. 95% I can say it is completely advantage to the business people who is moving to cloud. Why? Because of this. See, the existing model, right? Existing model in the sense non-cloud applications. Non-cloud applications, they have to spend hardware and a consultant and infrastructure, complete setup, office setup, everything, and the maintenance activity. You have to do the maintenance activity, and dedicated staffs you have to appoint, and whatever software upgrades are coming, you have to do all upgrades. All are hidden portions in the non-cloud applications. But for cloud, there is no license fee, there is no hardware infrastructure, there is no, there is no license, you don't have to do anything. There's a service provider, they are taking care of that. But cost-wise, right, comparatively, it is very, very low comparatively compared to other non-cloud applications. Why I am saying very low? Because they are charging per unit cost. This my users, this is the cost. It's not for one-time cost, it is how many licenses you are taking. So based on the license, you have to pay the monthly or yearly bill. Okay, these are the advantages. But for disadvantage, I don't see anything. But security, right? Security still people will ask the question. How secure this environment? But as I said, there are a lot of agreements between the service provider and the business. They are signing all the agreements and contracts. Based on that, the business is sharing the data to their cloud environment. And this is mainly the handshaking model, right? We have to believe them, and then and even a lot of confidential information, everything is in cloud nowadays. So so far, I never received any such kind of, I never heard any such kind of security issues from the cloud.
Yes, sir. The one more question.
Yes.
Among various cloud service provider, how can we choose which is the best? There's a one more question which is related to same question. Which is the best cloud service provider?
Immediately, I can say it is Salesforce.com. Cloud service, service provider. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, service provider. We cannot comment anything, but Amazon and Google, there are two major operators available. So, it is depends on the people. In general term, right? The Amazon and the Google, they are major business giants in this. We can go with anyone.
Is there any significant difference between one company to another company?
There should be some difference, but I'm not very sure about that. There should be some difference.
Okay, sure, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what is cloud computing? Any other questions? Sorry.
Yes, that's one question. What's
Yeah.
cloud ranking? Why it is needed for cloud?
Okay. Why it is needed? Because I said, right, the cost savings. You don't have to do any issues. You don't have to take anything in on your head. Like sometimes people will, if you are operating with your client server environment, you are managing the IT division, complete data division, right? And you have to manage your hardware, and then you have to purchase something, and then the maintenance activity and the hardware. The size issue, and then upgradation issue, or the maintenance issue, lot of disaster recovery, everything will come, right? You have to manage. Instead of that, you give it to somebody, outsource completely, and that too, it is very cost effective. That is what they said here, right? The companies were able to reduce their 3 years TCO. TCO is total cost of ownership by 54%. Okay, so This is one of the business, but I mean the value, right? $560,000. This is for some business, but it will vary from the business to business. And the faster environment, easy to use, everything answer is available here. Integrated automatic upgrades, multi-tenants, I mean multiple people can connect here, and then in between there's a, we can make the integration. So for example, some of the clients we are multiple IT providers are supporting. One is Cognizant, maybe another some Wipro or Infosys. All 3-4 vendors are supporting the same clients, and in between we have some relationship, and then we are sending mails, and then I mean from Infosys to other company Wipro or something. So that is what multi-tenant concept here we are talking. Any other questions? Did I answer your question?
Sir,
Yes.
what is the advantage of container-based cloud space versus VM space? Then one more question: how can company benefit from cloud computing?
Yeah, benefit is, of course, it is you don't have to go and operate from the company. You can operate from anywhere, because cloud company, when I say cloud, it is from the anywhere you can access that system. You can use from your home or from your, while you are traveling, anytime you can use the cloud system. That is the major advantage. And another question you asked, the first question I didn't get.
Yes, what is the advantage of container-based cloud space versus VM space?
VM.
VM,
B for?
I think virtual machine space.
Oh, okay, VM space. VM space. Okay. So tell me again the question, I'm not getting it.
Okay.
What is the advantages?
What is the advantage of container-based cloud space versus VM space?
Okay. See the VM space, right? VM space, I think it is VMware. Okay. Okay. See from the VMware, what I understood is it is there's a network port to connect to the specific client, specific people, right? The specific business. That VMware, through VMware we can connect. But for the cloud, but that is also from one environment to other environment. From your office, you can connect to other place, or from your office computer, you can connect from home also. But for the cloud, it is you can connect from your any devices, even the personal laptop, from your phone or your iPad, anything. So that is the difference here I'm seeing.
Yes, actually the question is virtual machine space.
Oh,
What is the
okay.
difference between cloud space versus virtual machine space?
Okay, so cloud space is the dynamically increase space, right? So when your business is reaching 1 terabyte, automatically it will increase to another 1.2 terabyte and 1.5 terabyte. Automatically it will get allocated to your particular business. This is dynamically increased. But the virtual space, you have to. It is also available in virtually, but you have to allocate manually. You have to allocate the space. Okay, this many space you can give. But for the cloud, it is everything automated. Automatically, once you reach 90 or 80%, automatically it will increase the space size of the hard disk or your storage.
Yes.
Did I answer your question?
No, sir. You go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So these are the advantages of cloud technology. You don't have to install you don't have to install any specific piece of CRM software, because it is available online. So development and maintenance, everything you can do online. And the platform independent access, very highly cost effective. any clarification on this? See, this is very general term, right? You don't have to install, of course, since it is cloud, you don't have to install anything. It is available in your laptop or through URL or through one of the website. If you access automatically, you can access whatever software you want to, whatever development you want to do, testing, anything, everything available in the online. You don't have to buy anything. Only thing is you have to get a customer license if it is for the business purpose. If it is for the development purpose, you don't have to pay any single penny. It is available for free to do the development and testing, and then the learning, training, everything available. I will tell you how to do that. So what is Salesforce? It's a CRM product of Salesforce. Recent days, people are using Salesforce, moving towards Salesforce. Most of the people are using Salesforce because it is completely cloud-based technology, co-founded by Mark Benefit, and on cloud and on-demand applications. Whatever there are a lot of on-demand applications, everything available on the cloud. And the standard application and customizations, yes, of course, everything is available on cloud. You can do the application development, application customizations. And as we see, the Post.com platform is one of the platform available to use the Salesforce services. Easily integrated to other services, other cloud applications. A simple case study. So there is a ABC Mobile Limited company, manufactures cell phones. What are their various business units to do the manufacturing and the marketing? What are the various business units? And I'm going to take it into the system computer level, how they are doing the business. So these are the business units they have. One is enterprise unit, another one is sales unit, another one is service unit. What is enterprise unit? Enterprise unit is completely manufacturing and the product development, resource planning, everything coming under the enterprise. Complete manufacturing division, we can say, right? And they are managing the inventory management, resource planning, and product planning, everything, manufacturing, product cost, shipping, and payments. And the sales and the service unit. Sales unit is talking about the customer information, marketing opportunities, and social customer services and call center management, everything coming under a service unit. So what is this enterprise unit and what is the sales and service unit? This is what the enterprise unit. Enterprise unit is completely the ERP system. Everyone knows ERP system, right? Enterprise unit is coming under completely ERP system. Sales and service is purely about CRM system, what we are talking about now. Okay, SAP system. SAP is completely taking care of the manufacturing and product planning and everything. That is what ERP system, SAP is taking. CRM in the computer term, CRM is taking care of the sales and the service and the marketing. So these are the CRM softwares currently in market, and then ERP systems you see in the market. So ERP, SAP, and Oracle E-Business Suite, everything is JD Edwards, everything is taking care of the manufacturing division. CRM is taking care of, Salesforce and Siebel technology, and then PeopleSoft CRM, Sugar CRM, Microsoft MS CRM, everything is taking care of the customer sales and the customer marketing and services to the customer. Okay. So this is the URL, https developer.salesforce.com. When you connect this, it will ask for the username creation and this. You have to create. Once you set up everything, login, you can complete your development in this environment. On your Salesforce CRM later Salesforce development, you can do it from here. Okay. So directly people cannot do the development. This is the environment they provided. Okay. Before development, we have to do the practice exercise. Practice, and then you have to do the online certifications, everything. So that is why they have introduced trial.salesforce.com. So when you log in this, you can again you have to sign up, and there are multiple certifications available. When you see certifications. So these are the different certifications. For example, Salesforce Administrator Certification, Advanced Administrator Certification, or CPQ Specialist Certification, anything, platform App Builder Certification. So when you click this certification, this particular link, it will take you to the practical exercise mode. You can directly, this is another developer credential certification, platform developer and platform app developer and developer tool. So when you click something, and it will take you to the division where you can do the practical exercises and you can do the certification. Okay. So before you do the practical exercise, you have to learn Salesforce. You have to get trained on this. That is the reason there is a another URL available, https://udemy.com, to get training first. So once you log into the Udemy, again you have to register yourself, and then you can have any kind of admin beginner, admin advanced, any kind of course. It is very few. I mean, cost wise, it is 400-500 rupees per year or something they are charging for company people. But I think for students it should be free. I can check and then confirm. If it is free, it is very good for all students to go through this, because it will give you complete learning, and then it will online classes, everything, tutorials, everything available in this. It is a big ocean for Salesforce. So people can go through this, and for example, see, once they click the platform basic certification, training, it will go 10 minutes for started with the Salesforce platform, use case platform, everything available. One by one, you have to go through that. Quick list and text formulas. They will explain each and every steps here, and then once the people learn everything, they can go back to trial to do the practical exercise. Once they complete the practical exercise and certification, they will get the points for each and every practical exercise and certification from the Salesforce division. And then directly they can log into the Salesforce developer.com, and then they can do their development, small developer things. Any questions so far?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
How cloud computing is related to big data?
Okay, see, big data is for the in general, right? Big data is for the huge. It is for the very large and huge database handling system. And we're talking about cloud computing, right? Cloud computing always can connect to big data, and everything can be seen from our the system, right? The front end GUI systems. From the GUI systems we can see, but the big data is the very niche skill in the market now, and it is completely talking about the data science and machine languages, everything. The difference between cloud, there is no difference between cloud computing and big data, right? It is both have to be handshake and then come to the industry. That is how my advice I have. There's no difference I don't see here. See, it is completely different topic, right? Big data is a completely database oriented thing, and then cloud computing, it is only the cloud-based operating system maintenance, everything they are doing. Amazon Web Services, for example, they are doing the cloud-based. And then big data is the database what they are going to manage in the same cloud area.
Sir, there's
Yes,
one
sir.
more question.
Yes.
How cloud computing has support COVID-19?
COVID-19. Okay. Okay. For example, we were all working from office since till March 15th or something. After that, slowly we all moved to work from home option. In the end of March itself, we moved. And then when we moved, then whoever using the cloud computing, we don't have to do any setup or something. Directly we can take our laptop and go home, and then from home we started connected. Okay. If the people are not using cloud computing, they are using the client server technologies, which is an office and things, right? They have to go back to office, or otherwise they have to set up a few things. The business continuity plan, what normally we say, right? They have to execute the business continuity plan to make sure everything in place. After the 20, they can move. So that took 1 week to 10 days time for them to operate during the COVID situation. But for cloud, right, it is everything available online. So directly we took the laptop and go home, went home, connected from next day. That is the only advantage I see.
One more question. Is there any education sector or center for CRM learning?
Of course, there are a lot of centers available, but I cannot name anything. But lot of good centers available. But instead of for example, if it is Salesforce, you don't have to go to any center. You just go to Udemy, learn Udemy, and then go to trialdesk.salesforce.com, and then go to developer.salesforce.com. It will help you completely.
So the
If you
one,
know the basics. Sorry.
yes. How the CRM provides job opportunities to the student or maybe the staff members?
So that's what I am saying, right? It is that CRM Salesforce is the very niche technology in market, and the business rate is very high, growing rate, right? Very high, and there are a lot of requirements in Salesforce market. So I told you how to learn Salesforce. So if you learn, definitely there are multiple opportunities available. But you should have a basic some Java kind of knowledge before you go to Salesforce.
Any other questions from participant?
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Sir, a question. For a new startup, how to concentrate on CRM?
New startup, how to concentrate on CRM?
Yes.
Okay. So if it is new startup, if it is a small, medium business, right? So it is depends on, definitely everyone can use CRM nowadays because of cloud computing. Earlier days, right? It is not possible. Why? Because they have to spend a big capital expenditure to set up a CRM system. Now it is cloud-based. If it is a small, medium business, definitely they can get a license of 100 people or 50 people or 25 people. It is based on the people strength, right? The license cost will vary. So I would like to advise that yes, it is possible, and it is Salesforce is supporting for everyone.
Next question. How ERP supports for CRM?
Sorry, how ERP supports for CRM?
Yes.
Yeah, ERP is, of course, ERP, right? From ERP system, it is taking care of manufacturing. The data flow from ERP SAP system, for example, we are operating with multiple clients, right? So we are getting data from SAP system. SAP, it is one of the ERP system. It will give complete data about the manufacturing product, everything, and then using the data, we do the our analysis and then things. So it is handshaking, like the brothers and sisters.
Yes. Next question. How can we give more security to cloud data? Which aspect and we can consider?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
How can we give more security to cloud data?
Okay. So it is completely cloud-based web services, right? Amazon Web Services or this case Google. These are the people are managing this. So it is already highly secure. Highly secure. That is the reason they are in top. They are top in the business. right? So multiple big business people are having the, they move to cloud technology because of the security and the credibility. I don't think we have to improve anything further on that.
Cloud scheduling, can you help increase resource utilization? How the using cloud increase the resource utilization?
Okay. So resource utilization, you are talking about, I believe you are talking about the size. So if the resource utilization, okay, it is based on the, see, okay, for example, you have started a small medium business, okay, small company, and you opted for the cloud technology for 20-member license, and you started the business, and you have opted for 1 terabyte of size of things, and all 1 terabyte you can use. And if it is going beyond that limit, resort limit, automatically you will get extended, and then based on the extension and things, they will collect the additional cost or something from you, right? So it is completely automated. You don't have to worry about that or cloud.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes, Father.
Ma'am actually is ready. Now I kindly ask the principal to say a word of thanks. Then we'll move on to the next section.
Yes.
So let me thank very inspiring and excellent speech on CRM, Dr. Vijay Kumar. Thanks in millions. I really enjoyed your talk. Now our principal will say a word of thanks for you.
Thank you, sir.
Respected Dr. Vijay Kumar, Reverend Fathers, Honorable Vice Chancellor, and all professors, very good afternoon to you all. I'm really very happy that we have listened to Dr. Vijay Kumar for nearly an hour, and it was very inspirational, particularly the aspect of answering the questions. We were able to get a lot of insights with regard to cloud computing and practical application of cloud computing in various aspects. And we also could get a very good knowledge with regard to CRM also. For all these things, on behalf of Loyola College Vettavalam and on behalf of the participants of this particular international conference, very particularly on behalf of Honorable Vice Chancellor, I'm very happy to offer you a word of thanks, and we offer our sincere gratitude for spending a lot of quality time with us this morning and enlightening each and every participant who has participated in this international conference. Thank you very much, sir. And we will continue to get connected, be connected with each other, and we'll find such forums in future also. May God bless you and all in your family. And thank you one and all once again. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
May I now request Reverend Dr. Albert William S.J., Secretary, Loyola College, Vettavalam, to introduce Chief Guest.
Respected, honorable, and distinguished Dr. Thamari Selvi, Vice Chancellor, Father Superior, Reverend Dr. Selva, Father Principal, Reverend Dr. Brito Vincent, our external coordinator, Dr. Paul Manuel, and all the participants. Once again, a very good morning. I'm back again to introduce our Vice Chancellor, a person known for innovative and creative ideas, a well-known research scientist across the world, and a very effective, efficient, and smart administrator. Our Vice Chancellor has been our role model, our shining guide like a star, and our philosopher. Higher the ideals, bigger the goals, deeper the purpose, or the current needs for higher energy, which flows from her qualitative analysis and decision making. Dr. Thamari Selvi Somasundaram did her BE in Mechanical Engineering, ME and PhD in Computer Science and Engineering. As a professor, head and dean, she did an extraordinary and outstanding service in MIT campus and Anna University. Before that, she held the positions of reader and HOD for many years in MS University. During her teaching career, she did sign a lot of MOUs with many foreign universities in USA, Canada, Malaysia, New Zealand, Italy, and so on. For our great surprise, our VC has a vast international academic exposure on big data analysis, deep learning, cloud computing, e-learning, and many research collaborations and academic visits in numerous foreign countries. She did conduct current and need-based international conferences on advanced computing, cloud computing, image processing, and so on. She also introduced 2 new courses in cloud computing and grid computing in Anna University. She delivered 21 invited talks and keynote addresses for international conferences, 28 plenary lectures and workshops for national conferences, PhD external examiner for 23 national and international students. She made an amazing history in obtaining 9 patents. She did bring prize-worthy laurels to India in receiving unique awards from abroad. She also has published 65 papers in Scopus Index journals, 103 papers in international conferences, and 33 papers in national conference. So we are very lucky and fortunate to such an eminent person as our Vice Chancellor. May now invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor to deliver. Welcome, ma'am.
Yes, we are waiting for Vincent. VC, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, Father.
Professor Manimuthu, can you please ask the principal also to say words of welcome to our VC?
May I now request our Dr. Brito, Principal, Loyola College, Vettavalam, to welcome our VC.
Very respected and honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thamarai Selvi Somasundaram, Vice Chancellor of Thiruvallur University, respected and Reverend Dr. Silvaraj Arunathan, the Superior of Loyola College, Vettavalam, respected and Reverend Dr. Albert William, the Secretary and Campus Treasurer of Loyola College, Vettavalam, revered professors of various colleges of Thiruvallur University, respected professors of the departments of Computer Application and Computer Science of Loyola College, Vettavalam, and friends. A very good afternoon to you all. Loyola College, Vettavalam is really privileged to have the presence of Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Thamarai Selvi as a wonderful motivator and a great resource person. From my experience with her in the last 1 year at the respective principal of Loyola College, Vettavalam, I have observed 3 things in the person of Dr. Thamarai Selvi, and those 3 things I like to highlight here by way of welcoming her. Number one is the resourcefulness that we are able to see, the expertise that we are able to see in the person of Honorable Vice Chancellor. And that is what has been highlighted very much by Dr. Albert William in his introductory speech. And whether our Madam Vice Chancellor was becoming aware of what we are experiencing at the moment, that is COVID-19, whether she was aware of this thing or not, she has prepared us in the right way in order to go in for e-content. Last year, when we had a meeting with her in the university, she was very much particular that the university should have a lot of teams having been planned and organized so that each and every team can engage themselves in preparing e-content on various disciplines. And that was a wonderful initiative that was brought about by Dr. Thamaraselvi as Vice Chancellor. And that has really paved the way for all of us to meaningfully engage ourselves in academic activities and get connected to our own students in various ways. And I feel very happy that a few professors of Loyola College Vettavalam have also been roped in preparing e-content on various subjects. And that is a wonderful initiative that I'm able to see by the Honorable Vice Chancellor. The second wonderful initiative that was initiated by her is to bring in elements of placement in our own colleges. And that was one another important concern that she had. And with this particular concern, we were able to network among ourselves in terms of various colleges at the zonal level. And by engaging ourselves in this regard, we were able to organize works related to placement of our own students in various companies, even in a reputed company like Cognizant, from which we had the resource person for this morning's talk. The third aspect that I'm able to see in the person of Dr. Thamaraselvi, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, is the hard work. And Dr. Albert William, when he introduced our Vice Chancellor in the beginning, he said that she is a role model. And in this particular aspect, we see the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thamaraselvi, as a role model. That she keeps to the principle of 24/7 every day, 24 hours and all 7 days work. So that kind of a hard work that she is able to put in. And because of this particular aspect of hard work, she has been able to bring in a lot of credits to herself and a lot of laurels to herself. And she is trying to bring in a lot of laurels to the university as well. And that is a wonderful principle that we are able to emulate from the Honorable Vice Chancellor. And that kind of a system of 24/7, she's also trying to put in place in the university also, in various departments. And that is a wonderful element that we are able to see, and that is something which is to be emulated from Dr. Thamaraselvi, the Honorable Vice Chancellor. The final and very important aspect that I'm able to see in her is bringing in professionalism and bringing in quality to the way how we work. And that is something which has brought into the university itself. And by valuing quality as a very important criterion, she brought in the aspect of accreditation of the university itself by the NAC Council. And that's a wonderful gesture that she could initiate within a very short period of time, she being the Vice Chancellor of the university. And that is something she not only wants to confine to the university alone, but she would like every college to follow that. Every college, she would like to see a college of quality, a college which is bringing in valuable dimensions in terms of honesty also and fair way of conducting examinations and so on. All these things are her mantra, and with these mantras, she is able to bring in a lot of quality both to the university and to every college. And it is in this regard, I'm very happy to share with our Honorable Vice Chancellor that Loyola College Vettavalam, as it is going to enter into the 12th year, we are going to enter into the phase of accrediting ourselves through NAC Council. And by doing it, I'm sure we will be seen as a reputed institution. And not only with that, we are also planning to go in for National Institutional Ranking Framework. And by going in the process of National Institutional Ranking Framework, in short, NIRF, I'm sure we will be able to see our college in the first 100 colleges of the country, either this year or the next year. And by doing it, we can bring credit to the university also. And I am sure, thanks to the tireless efforts of the Honorable Vice Chancellor, our university, Tiruvallur University, also will be brought to great heights. With these words of appreciation and congratulations, I'm very, very happy to welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thamaraselvi Somasundram, amidst us for this international conference on data science. We really appreciate for having spent her quality time, for having come forward to spend a lot of quality time with us. Not only today, after 2 days, she will come once again as a resource person. We are really honored, Madam, to have your presence. And with these words of appreciation and congratulations, we welcome you amidst all of us on behalf of the Jesuit management of Loyola College Vettavalam, on behalf of the professors, and on behalf of the non-teaching staff and students, and on behalf of all participants in this international conference. Thank you very much, Madam. We welcome you very warmly for this international conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. May I now request Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thamaraselvi, Tiruvallur University, to deliver address. Ma'am, kindly unmute your audio.
Yeah. Now is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Actually, very good afternoon to one and all present here. Really, it is a great pleasure in sharing the experience as well as to inaugurate this particular FDP on machine learning. Really, it is a very good opportunity, and I can say Loyola College Vettavalam is trying to serve the research community by having the various expertise linked together for the purpose of the teachers, so that their current topic on machine learning to be understood properly. So they have organized with the support of industries. So in that way, I should be able to congratulate them for organizing such a wonderful practical oriented workshop, I can say. It is practical based, even though the theory concepts are being dealt. They have combined the industries to make the machine learning process which is practically feasible. And the various participants will be gaining a lot by seeing this demonstration, and they will be able to make use of it for the research. And being the inaugural session, I want to touch upon some of the important points, because most of you are following only these research concepts, and which is the need of the hour, and especially computer science and mathematics people. Both of them are trying to make use of the machine learning concepts for various research opportunities. So why we should have this machine learning required for our research, and how to do the machine learning, and what is the actual definition of machine learning. Those things I want to touch upon by considering the recent trends also in this inaugural address, because it will help them. Because in the next session, I am going to touch upon the linear regression directly. Prior to that, I want to give some introduction to the faculty members, because it is the need of the hour to know what are the things we should consider when we want to do the research. So when we consider the need of the hour, I'll say Industry 5.0, we are talking. Education 5.0, we are talking. Then Society 5.0. All those three are interrelated, and everybody wants to make use of these 3.0, because we are living in the Society 5.0. When you consider the actual transformation taking place, we have to consider the digital transformation as well as society transformation, which are based on Industry 5.0, Education 5.0, and Society 5.0. Today, the digital transformation is taking place. If you consult any industry, they are trying to go for the digital transformation, and it is a very big transformation, and it is making use of so many disruptive technologies so that the entire thing will transform totally. So we should prepare ourselves for catering to the needs of the education 5.0, industry 5.0, and society 5.0. When you consider that 5.0 of all these three types, before that, I want to tell you what are the top strategic predictions for 2020. See, according to Gartner, they have given some of the top 10 strategic technologies, in which the first one is hyper automation. Why I am mentioning these things? For hyper automation, machine learning is the important thing. How to automate various productions by having machine learning, deep learning technologies being inducted to the automotive process. We are having so many RPAs, that is, you are having the robotic process automation. We consider so many automation linked together so that we are able to customize our products based on the need. So that is hyper automation. Machine learning and deep learning are part of it. Then multi-experience, that is another technological trends they are telling. Virtual reality, then you are having augmented reality and mixed reality. So you are having the rich experience of that virtual world as well as physical world, and we are trying to make use of the cyberspace to be utilized for these multiple experiences. Then we are having the democratization. That means you are having the actual technology-centric people is replaced by people-centric technology. You are having the citizen access so that many things are automated by using the technology, and our ideas, our intellectual capabilities are being utilized so that you are having the citizen access. Some application can be automatically written. See, if you consider the machine learning, we are having a lot of libraries in Python. We are having a lot of other APIs available. So you need not worry about implementing the learning algorithms. Just you make use of the various libraries so that anybody can do it. This is what we call it as democratization. Anybody can access the technology. You need not worry about the knowing of computers, knowing the programming. Nothing is needed. A simple introduction to the common ideas will help you to develop your own applications. So that is called as democratization of the technologies. Then human augmentation. How to improve the human ability? Some of the physically challenged people, how can we replace the eyes, ears, so that it is possible to embed the technologies inside the body and we can augment the human organs and all. So physical abilities are improved. That is the concept of human augmentation. Then transparency and traceability. You can have the trust over the actual data concepts available in it, and you should be able to trace it also. Then we are having the smart spaces in the technological trends, which is empowered edge. Edge means edge computing. We are trying to compute the various things in the edge itself. You are collecting the data. You are having the IoTs, sensors, so that they will acquire the data. In the edge itself, we are doing the computation because in some of the places, the connectivity may not be good or the bandwidth is very less. That's why in the edge itself, we are doing the computation. That is called as empowered edge. Then distributed cloud. We are having the centralized cloud now. But people are thinking of distributed cloud because you want to distribute it throughout the globe, and all those things are linked together. Then you are having the autonomous things. That is autonomous machines, driverless cars, then unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. All those things will come under autonomous things. Then practical blockchain. Blockchain is nothing but the digital ledger, which is decentralized, and there is no single owner to it. So we want to practically implement this blockchain. So you are aware of Bitcoin, then Ethereum. These are the platforms meant for implementing those things. And we are using the smart contract and all nowadays. Ethereum is supporting such things. And we are making use of the practical blockchain in many applications. Then AI security. The security is also another important topic for artificial intelligence. Whenever there is a networking, whenever you get the data from different parts of the globe, definitely it is essential to go for the security also in artificial intelligence. So these are the top 10 strategic technologies for the current year. So people are talking about the smart spaces, people-centric technology, so that it is having the ease of life and having better comfort for the society. And when you consider the industry 5.0, we started from industry 1.0 with machines used for the automation, then electricity was used and computers were used for the industries, then internet was used in industry 4.0, and now equal global trade potential is possible with industry 5.0. The main concept of industry 5.0 is to customize the product. See, I want a product, the production should be having the facility to customize based on the need of the customer. So the customization, that is the importance of industry 5.0. Customized products are available. Then you are using the different technologies for the customization, as we have discussed in that one. That is, you are using the mixed reality, additive technologies, drones, then industrial blockchain, you are using 5G. All those things are technology enablers. Whatever I told, all those technology enablers are used in industry 5.0 also. Then we are talking about education 5.0. When we consider the education 5.0, we have used the teaching 1.0, then research-based thing is for 2.0, then community services in 3.0, and education 4.0 is dealing with innovation, and now 5.0 is for industrialization. How the innovative ideas can be implemented for industrialization to have the customized product of the customers. So the industrialization is the main need of the hour for education 5.0. And see, we will be having the news in 2025 by having, see, robotics have entered our homes for personal usages. So you can make use of the robot for our routine works, so that repetitive work can be easily automated by the robot. So many houses will be having the robo servants in 2025. And you can have the sensory devices guiding our everyday life. You can implant some of the chips into your brain so that it will remember, it will remind you, it will give you a lot of abilities for the multiplication and other things. So that will enhance the everyday lives by having the human augmentation. Then you can have the financial transaction, mobile financial transaction in cryptocurrency by implementing practical blockchain. Then you can have the autonomous cars available plenty on the road. You can have the big data entering into zettabytes, and you can have the 3D printing, 4D printing. All those things will be embedded into our industrial automation. And you can have the high-speed rails connecting different countries. And you can have the low-cost holiday in space. You can go to space, you can spend 1 week time or 2 days time, and you can come back again. As we are going for vacation to our aunt's house or to our grandparents' house or to some other locations, we can go to space also. So this is the various things expected in 2025 because of the disruptive technologies being adapted for our research. And when we consider the smart society, we started from Stone Age, then agriculture age. Cultivation is the main thing we had, and also then the production in the industrial age. Then information age was also very much helpful for the production. Now we are living in the smart society. We call it as society 5.0. So here, collaboration and innovation, that is the main aspect of this smart society. So when you consider all these things, we are having the various society 5.0 or super smart society with the support of cyberspace and physical space linked together. For both the things, cyberspace as well as physical spaces are connected together to help the society 5.0. And now when you want to do any research, it is very important to have the science, technology, and innovation. All those things should be actually meant for sustainable development goals. Everybody will be aware of this sustainable development goals, having 17 goals to be achieved. Science, technology, and innovation should be for the SDG. That is, the first goal is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation. Like that, you are having 17 goals which are given by the SDG, that is the Global Goals for Sustainable Development. You can easily view it in the internet also. Then the SDG is for people, prosperity, peace, partnership, and planet. These are the 5 elements considered under sustainable development. And we can have the Society 5.0 for SDG. So how Society 5.0 can be mapped for various sustainable development goals, that we have to think of. And today we need the competencies for critical thinking, complex problem solving, creativity, communication, and collaboration. Ultimately, we want to have the lifelong learning. For that, this Education 5.0 will be helpful. And we are having the various innovation by having the technology push matching with the market pull. That is, we are having a lot of technologies. This technology push will support the demand in the market. So technology push is matching with the market pull. So this is called as the interactive model of innovation. So we want to have all those things. And today, everything becomes smart. See, smartphones, smart homes, smart cars, smart factories, smart cities, and ultimately we are going to have the smart earth or smart planet. Towards that only we are traveling. For that, we should have our research focused with the global outlook, and we should have the environmental protection, and we should have the social and national responsibilities. We should have the critical analysis and creative thinking, and we should have the ability to solve complex problems. So our research should be helpful for solving complex problems. So when you think of complex problems, automatically machine learning or deep learning is the solution for it. Because when you have a number of dimensions, the dimensionality reduction is possible, learning is possible by means of deep learning, machine learning is having so many predictions by means of linear regression or logistic regression or decision trees. Like that, we are having number of machine learning techniques, and also we are having lot of methodologies based on various aspects like this machine learning concept. Because this workshop is very much apt for today's context, because we are having the data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. When you consider the data, data is converted into information. The processed data is information. That's what we say. Strictly speaking, when you actually find the relationship between data, it becomes information. Say, let me tell you 50. What is 50? 50, I'm saying. What is 50? If I tell mark 50, then it becomes information. The relationship is given. Cost is 150 rupees. 1 kg of apple is 150 rupees. Then the cost with the apple, when it is related, then you say the price is 50. Then it will be meaningful. So data means just it is set of facts, set of symbols, and that is the actual thing. So if I say 50, set of symbols, 5 is 1 digit, 0 is 1 digit. 50 is data, raw data. Marks 50, when I relate marks 50, it becomes information. So information processing is somewhat easier. We are having a lot of algorithms, lot of data structures, lot of relational database management system to convert data into information. Now, we are not satisfied by converting data into information. The data means that raw data is converted into information where the relationship is meant. Now we are talking about knowledge. How to convert data into knowledge? For that, we need machine learning. The learning concept is going to convert the data into knowledge. It interprets the knowledge. It infers the knowledge from the data. So what is machine learning? We want to convert data into knowledge. So for the transformation of data into knowledge, machine learning is the important concept. So we are trying to learn the various concepts used in machine learning. So this is what we are going to learn in this workshop. I can define the machine learning like this. Machine learning is the technique of making computers to learn insights from data, unlike traditional programming. Once again, I repeat it. It is the technique of making computers to learn insights from data, unlike traditional programming. In the traditional computing, our purpose is to make use of the conventional algorithm, sequence of steps to solve a problem. You are writing a traditional program. From the data, it is giving the process data that becomes information. Whereas it is the technique of making computers to learn insights from data. That is, you are trying to identify the pattern. So computers can learn from the given data to identify patterns and make intelligent decisions. So this is the meaning of machine learning. So we are trying to transform from data to knowledge. We are making the computers to learn the insights from the data, unlike traditional programming. The computers can learn from the given data to identify the patterns and make intelligent decisions. This is known as machine learning. And when you consider the machine learning, really it is a very, very complex task, and it is not a simple task. So we should be able to make use of the machine learning concept, in which we are having the machine learning by using different methods. See, naive Bayes method, then you are having the regression models, then you are having the support vector machines, then you are having the actual neural network concept. These are all coming under machine learning process, and each machine learning process is having its own machine learning concepts from the different regression models. So our idea is to make use of the regression models to learn the actual machine learning process or deep learning process. And the next session will be dealing with the mathematical concept of linear regression and logistic regression, helpful for the learning process using machines. So this is the main idea about the various learning processes. And in the next session, I'll be explaining the linear regression model, and the research is meant for having the digital transformation in education 5.0. So the research will enable digital transformation in education 5.0. It caters to the need of industry 5.0, and it supports society 5.0. So research brings revolution for the society 5.0, and for that, this machine learning and the various techniques which we are going to discuss in the 3 days will be helpful. And with this few conceptual idea to bring the revolution for the society 5.0, this workshop will be very much helpful. And I feel proud of inaugurating this workshop for making the researchers to be familiar with the machine learning concepts. So with this, let me conclude my talk, and I am happy to inaugurate this workshop of machine learning. Thank you, Ananda.
Yes, such a wonderful and excellent inaugural address. Congratulations, ma'am. We would like to give a big clap. Thank you, madam,
Thank
for
you.
your high technological, inspiring, innovative, current, relevant, need-based, and smart motivational speech. Now, may now call upon for the principal to propose vote of thanks to our honorable and respected vice principal. Principal, please. Father Principal, please.
Very respected and honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kamari Selvi, Reverend Fathers, respected professors, we have really listened to the resourceful dimension of chief guest, that is Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thamari Selvi. I was really dumbfounded listening to her, the inaugural speech that was given by her. We were very happy to listen to her talking about top 10 strategic technologies. And in that itself, we were taken into the whole world of IT industry. We were taken into the whole world of computer science. And from there, she was able to tell us about the applicability of all these things, particularly in terms of 17 goals for sustainable development. All those things Madam touched upon. And by doing all these things, we were really able to understand how much of expertise she is having, how resourceful she is with regard to the whole subject. And we really look forward to listen to her to talk about linear regression, which is going to happen very soon. And with these words of expectation, once again, on behalf of the Jesuit management and on behalf of the professors and on behalf of everyone who is participating in this international conference, we offer our sincere gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thamari Selvi Somasundram, for spending a lot of quality time with us and for taking us to another level through her inspirational inaugural address. Thank you very much, Madam. We are very much delighted and we are very much honored to have you with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you all the participants. Thank you for the principal and thank you for all the organizers.